a store owner secretly follows a homeless man every day for a week. What he discovered left an entire town speechless. Main Street in Riverdale was like any other small-town America thoroughfare. Family-owned shops, a diner that had been serving the same blueberry pie since 1978, and locals who greeted each other by name. Among the familiar faces was one that most people actively avoided, an elderly homeless man who had taken up residence under the old railway bridge at the edge of town. Most called him Old Tom, though no one knew if that was his real name. His weathered face and tattered military jacket had become part of the landscape, something locals saw but rarely acknowledged. Some dropped spare change in his cup, others crossed to the opposite sidewalk when they saw him coming. James Parker, owner of Parker's Hardware, was different. Each morning for 3 years, he'd nod respectfully at Tom when their paths crossed. Sometimes he'd offer him a coffee on cold days. But James never pried into the old man's story. Everyone deserved their privacy, he believed. That changed on a rainy Tuesday in April, when James watched from his store window as 3 teenagers approached Tom. What began as taunting quickly escalated. One boy knocked Tom's few possessions into a puddle while another filmed on his phone, laughing. The third teenager reached for the military medal Tom kept pinned to his jacket. That's when something extraordinary happened. Tom didn't lash out or yell. Instead, his eyes filled with tears as he whispered something to the boys. Whatever he said made them step back, faces suddenly pale. They scattered quickly, leaving Tom to gather his soaked belongings. James rushed outside with a towel and an umbrella, but by the time he reached the spot, Tom had disappeared. All that remained was a small, mud-covered notebook. James picked it up, intending to return it next time he saw Tom. That night, curiosity got the better of him. The notebook's pages were filled with beautiful sketches, landscapes, portraits of townsfolk, and detailed drawings of military aircraft. In the back was a faded photograph of a younger Tom in full military dress uniform, standing proudly beside an F-4 Phantom jet. The next morning, James waited for Tom to appear at his usual spot. When he didn't show, James made a decision that would change both their lives forever. He decided to find out where Tom went each day. For the next week, James asked his assistant manager to open the store. Each morning, he waited near the bridge until Tom emerged, then discreetly followed him at a distance. What he discovered left him speechless. Every day followed the same pattern. Tom would walk 3 miles to the public library when it opened, spending hours reading technical manuals and books on engineering. After lunch, usually a small sandwich from his backpack, he'd head to Riverdale High School, positioning himself across the street as classes let out. At first, James thought Tom was simply watching the teenagers, but on the third day, he noticed something peculiar. A young boy with thick glasses and hunched shoulders would separate from the crowd and approach Tom. They would talk intensely for about 20 minutes before the boy returned to the school's science building. On the 5th day, James followed them. Hidden behind a tree, he watched as Tom helped the boy construct what appeared to be a small engine. Tom's hands, though weathered and calloused, moved with remarkable precision as he explained complex mechanical principles. The boy listened with rapt attention, taking detailed notes. On the final day of his observation, James followed Tom to the local cemetery. There, Tom knelt before a simple headstone and placed a single wildflower on the grave. He stayed for nearly an hour, talking softly to whoever lay beneath the earth. James couldn't contain his curiosity any longer. He approached slowly, clearing his throat to announce his presence. Tom looked up, unsurprised. "Wondered how long you'd shadow me before saying hello," he said, his voice gravelly from disuse. James apologized for the intrusion and handed Tom his notebook. "I've been worried about you since those kids harassed you. I had no idea you were a person?" Tom finished with a sad smile. Most don't. Sitting beside the grave marker, which James now could see belonged to Captain Margaret Wilson, USAF, 1948-2010, Tom finally shared his story. Thomas Wilson had once been Major Thomas Wilson, an aerospace engineer and Vietnam veteran who helped design fighter jet engines for the Air Force. After retiring, He and his wife, Margaret, also a military pilot, had settled in Riverdale to be close to their only daughter and grandson. When their daughter and son-in-law died in a car accident 5 years ago, Tom and Margaret took in their grandson, Alex, the same boy James had seen Tom meeting after school. But then Margaret developed aggressive cancer, and medical bills quickly drained their retirement savings. After Margaret's death, the financial burden became overwhelming. Tom lost their house to foreclosure. Too proud to ask for help and suffering from untreated PTSD that made crowded shelters unbearable, he chose to live on the streets while ensuring Alex could stay in school. The state wanted to put him in foster care, Tom explained, voice breaking. But Margaret's sister agreed to take him if I contributed something for his keep. Every dollar I collect goes to her for Alex's expenses. I just need to hold on 3 more years until he graduates. The boy James had seen was Tom's grandson, a brilliant student who had inherited his grandfather's engineering aptitude. Tom had been secretly tutoring him, passing on decades of aerospace knowledge to help the boy earn a scholarship. "These meetings are our secret," Tom said. "Alex is embarrassed that his grandfather lives under a bridge. Can't blame him. The other students, they wouldn't understand." James sat in stunned silence, the weight of his misjudgment crushing him. This man wasn't just a homeless veteran. He was a hero making an unimaginable sacrifice for the person he loved most. That evening, James called an emergency meeting at the Riverdale Business Association. He shared Tom's story, careful to protect the details about Alex. By meeting's end, tears flowed freely, and a plan had formed. 2 weeks later, Tom arrived at his usual spot under the bridge to find James waiting with keys in hand. The hardware store had an unused apartment above it, previously James's grandfather's home. It was Tom's if he wanted it, but that was just the beginning. The auto shop offered Tom part-time work repairing engines. The high school principal, once informed of Tom's qualifications, created a position for him as a STEM program consultant. Even the teenagers who had harassed him came forward, deeply ashamed, offering to clean the apartment and help move Tom's few possessions. When Tom asked why they were doing this, James simply handed him a small American flag pin. "You never stopped serving, Major Wilson. Now it's our turn to serve you." The reunion between Tom and his grandson was private, but those who witnessed it from afar described seeing the tall, gangly teenager running into his grandfather's arms outside the hardware store, both of them weeping openly. 6 months later, Tom stood proudly in a pressed suit, his first new clothes in years, watching Alex receive a state science award for the jet engine prototype they had designed together. No longer hidden, their relationship became a source of pride for both. Today, Major Thomas Wilson teaches advanced engineering concepts at Riverdale High School. The bridge where he once slept has been renamed Veterans Memorial Crossing, and a small museum displaying his technical drawings stands nearby. As for James Parker, he gained something unexpected from following a homeless man for a week: a best friend, and a powerful reminder that every person has a story worth knowing, dignity worth respecting, and potential worth nurturing. This story isn't just about one homeless veteran or one kind store owner. It's about looking beyond appearances, about the courage to help, and about the family we create through compassion. It reminds us that sometimes the most extraordinary people are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to simply see them. If you've watched this far, comment which country you're watching from and if you believe everyone deserves to be seen. Remember, sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change someone's entire world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that restore faith in humanity. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video that might just change how you see the world around you.